Hello friends, today we'll discuss about the next structural thing. In last session we have discussed about some structural things. Now we'll talk about some more structural things. Next is component. Component basically a physical and replaceable part of any system. It represents the physical packaging of logical element. As we have discussed about the component in the last session. Component can be of three types: source code component, runtime component, and can be an executable component. Source code component, it means it can be any source code file. For example, .java file, .cpp file, .cls file, .csv file. Runtime component can be a .class file, .dll file. It means .dynamic link library files. And executable components can also be .exe file, .jar file, and so on. So we form a component that are reusable, that are extensible and replaceable in nature. For example, project.java is a source code component. Next is node. Node is a structural thing that exists on runtime. Node basically represent some computational resources, generally having at least some memory and often processing capability. For example, server. Server having some memory and processing capability to process something. Router, printers, all may be considered as a node. Basically, nodes are used to deploy the components. So that's why they exist on runtime. Next thing is the behavioral things. Behavioral things basically describe the dynamic portion of any UML model. These are the work part of any model. They represent the behavior over time and space. In UML, behavioral things can be categorized as interaction and state chart or state machine. Now we'll discuss about behavioral things in detail. Interaction. Interaction is a behavior that comprises a set of messages exchanged among a set of objects within a particular context to accomplish a specific task. Interaction can be represented by the line with arrow, and I can write the message on the interaction. So here the display is a message written on the interaction line. Next is the state machine. State machine is a behavior that specifies a sequence of state of an object. An interaction goes through during its lifetime in response to event together with its response to those events. The state can be any waiting state, running state, or any state of any object. So when we talk about the state, we have to talk about the object, because object having the different state from starting to ending. Third thing in UML is the grouping things. Basically, grouping things in UML describe the organizational part of the model. For example, package. Package is a general purpose mechanism for organizing elements into group. It means I can say a package is a thing to combine the structural and behavioral thing together. Package can be represented by the tabbed rectangular. Here the org.hibernate is a package that contains many class files. Last thing is the annotational thing. Annotational thing is the explanatory part of the UML model. For example, note. Note is simply a symbol for rendering, constraint, comment attached to an element, a collection of elements. So I can use a note in any UML model to explain any element of anything, any element. So this is the last portion of the structural things. In next session, we'll talk about some more concept regarding the UML. Thank you.